So as you can tell, we're in a different place. We got kicked out of the library, so now we're in another library. This is the third one so far. And we're gonna record like the end of the podcast essentially. But take it away.
We were recording for so long, and you said third one. They only think it's the second one. It's the third one because we were in this building to start off the recording, but the bottom floor has no power, so the screen wouldn't work. Which is why we walked all the way to the other library, which we ended up getting kicked out of. So,
take it away.
Right. Well, to complete this, we finished the meme section essentially. So I just wanted to mention now, going into the last race, we've got a week break, so we will have a separate show about Saudi. But F1 has been obviously rinsing the fact this is the first time since 2016 it's gone down to the last race. The gap is 8 points. If Max wins with the fastest lap, Lewis has to finish above 5th. If he just wins and Lewis finishes 7th, Max has won the title. Second or fastest lap, Lewis has to finish at least 10th. Or finish at least 9th, sorry. If he finishes second place and someone else gets fastest lap, and Lewis doesn't score any points, the championship's over.
Basically, as long as Lewis doesn't screw up.
Yeah, so either way, so this is for it to be mathematically the championship decided and it ends.
If Lewis gets below second, if Lewis doesn't win in Saudi, realistically he's lost the championship.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's a must-win for Lewis. Normally at these stages, the last time we saw him in a situation like this was 2016.
But he was fighting him like Nico, he wasn't fighting.
But he did win the last 5 races or whatever it was that he needed. Obviously, Nico did what he needed to do and finished second every time, and that won him the championship. An interesting point to get onto the question I'm going to ask you is one I got told from a mate in a WhatsApp conversation just before we started recording. Essentially, do you reckon it's possible that like if Max keeps the gap around 8 points or under 8 points or whatever it is, between the gap and first and second pretty much, he can then guarantee that he wins the title by just finishing second in Abu Dhabi?
That's the
Is that what he's aiming to do? Like, is that the best thing for him, and how likely is that to happen?
But realistically, it would have been like, so if Lewis wins next time, it's down to 1 point. So Max has to win, or just be ahead of Lewis for him to win the championship. But I think it would have been a bit different if going into the last race there's 7 points difference between them.
Yeah.
Because if he comes second, he wins based on number of races.
So that's what he should be aiming for.
But that's the thing, that's not going to happen unless both of them don't score points.
Or he outscores Lewis somehow in the next race.
Yeah, but then he would have like a comfortable lead, so you can go in with, it would be like at least 14 points difference.
And at that point he's basically won.
So, it's not like, so if he comes second next time, like realistically for Max, it's a must win. Like maybe not a must win, because if he comes second, it's down to 1 point. He probably has a higher chance of winning in Abu Dhabi.
He can afford to come second this time.
Even like, but that's the thing in Abu Dhabi is still like with the new changes to the track, it will probably favor Mercedes.
Yeah. So one of the key points I wanted to bring up, I don't know if I've mentioned this already.
Because Mercedes could go into a last track and just take a new engine penalty and put in a massively superior penalty and just win it.
Depending on the points difference, they could do. But here's the thing. So in Qatar, they were saying probably because of the old engine, the Turkey engine, Mercedes lost their straight line speed advantage against Red Bull. But the times they did make up positions or time on them, I believe Horner said on turn 6, they would gain about 2 tenths on Max, purely in turn 6. The adjustments made in Abu Dhabi, the end of the first sector, they've got rid of that little left-right chicane before the left-hand hairpin onto the first back straight with the DRS. That's now just become the long 180 instead of having the chicane before it, which essentially has turned it into turn 6 at Qatar, or very similar.
That's what I'm saying, it favours Mercedes now.
If Lewis gains 2 tenths there, just on the exit of that corner, plus whatever he gains on the straight as well with DRS and all of that stuff.
That's why I'm saying Mercedes could go and say, okay, Lewis takes pole. No. Like Lewis will take pole. So like if Lewis takes pole, they can afford to put a new ICU and take a 5 grid place penalty. and go in and he'll win it. Like realistically speaking.
I don't think they'd risk that though.
No, I don't think they'll risk it. But that's the thing. They were saying like the new engine. Like usually the engine goes to like 7,000 kilometers? No, 25,000 kilometers is each engine.
Right.
But this one can only go for 2,500 because of reliability. The one from Brazil. So it can technically only take 3 races.
Oh, that's risky. So you're saying that?
So I'm saying with that reliability point, do you go in and risk an engine failure? Or do you say, no, I'm going to put a new ICU, gain extreme performance, and put Lewis...
You don't risk overtaking Max on the last, because he had to finish ahead of Max.
No, but that's the
that
thing.
means he'd have to overtake Max on track for the championship. Max would crash right into him. There's no way Max would allow him to go fast.
Yeah. I think it will all depend on Saudi. If he builds, like...
Yeah, true.
So, because it's an 8-point gap. If Max finishes 3rd and Lewis gets fastest lap, Lewis is all he needs to, like... Lewis can afford to crash into Max. Because now they can take the ICU thing and come 2nd and he wins the championship.
Yes.
It won't be technical.
No, if he's ahead, now the responsibility is on Max to...
Yeah, but as in, like, if he comes in 2nd, Max will lose the championship. But you get what I mean. It's all kind of like... Going into Saudi, I think, like, after that race, I think Mercedes would determine what they're going to do. Are we going to take the ICU? Are you going to risk? Are you going to take the older engine that has perhaps better reliability? It's interesting how the reliability has deteriorated. Like, Mercedes were known for having reliable engines, really reliable engines. I don't know what could have made them, like, the engines suck.
There's an engine freeze as well now. Like, from next year to the update 2026 or something.
You can only introduce reliability.
Yeah, so like...
Yeah, so they can improve their reliability.
Essentially I guess the performance doesn't really change. Right. That, I guess, is all after Saudi. First, he has to win there. We will, as I said, so the last 2 are back-to-back, but there's a week break now since we've just had the triple header, which means next week we will do a pre-Saudi episode with predictions and all the rest of it and talking about how the track is basically not even finished yet. But for now, we can go over our predictions from last week, see what kind of stuff...
Imagine Saudi just gets cancelled.
You know what, actually, that's another thing.
That would favour Max, because he's going to...
It would, and which is why it would be very controversial if they did it. But
they could do Abu Dhabi and then...
In the regulations, I think it's 90 days, at least 90 days, before F1 goes there for like practice or whatever on Friday, they need to have like someone from the FIA or whatever it is, basically check the safety of the circuit, make sure everything's done, make sure the runoffs are good, make sure like the barriers, everything else like that stuff. For a track that's never been on the calendar before, or a new track or whatever it is,
you think they have more time?
It's 120 days. So essentially they have 120 days before they need to check it.
And they've done none of that.
They haven't done any of the checks. They've said the quote is that the essential construction will be finished, but the extra stuff will have to be done for next year, which means they're not even done, and they're trying to offer... They can't even guarantee the good stuff, not the good stuff, the essentials for the race to take place will be finished. So this is going to be really dodgy to me. Brand new circuit, completely fresh, and they're not even done yet.
Yeah, I think especially with this like street circuit, I say that with big quotation marks, you need safeties to a higher standard than say a place like Monza, for instance, because there's so much place for runoff that...
France.
Yeah, Silverstone.
I'd say France is so ugly. Right.
France is so bad, bro. It's because of all those lines, bro, they look so bad. Anyways.
So, here it is. So I've got the results up just so I can compare. Oh, I'm going to need to get qualifying results up. Right, just to mention our predictions then. Where is it? There they are. So, quali top 3. Oh, I think there were penalties and stuff. Yeah, Max's penalties kind of ruined this. But you said Lewis, Max, Bottas. I can get qualifying instead of the starting grid. So you said Lewis, Max, Bottas. That's right. Okay, you got it. You got it right. I said Lewis, Max, Perez. Perez was knocked out in Q2.
Told you. You can't rely on Perez, bro.
He qualified 11th.
Yeah,
so
yeah. So the race, come on.
I was wrong with that. Okay, the race, you said, right, race results. You said Lewis, Max, yes. Bottas, definitely not. Perez, close. Actually, yeah, he did finish 4th, and then Charles, which is...
Ooh, so I'm off by 2.
It's wrong, but it was kind of ruined by Charles's qualifying. He probably had the pace, but it was ruined because of his crack in the chassis. Lewis, Perez, no. Sainz, nowhere near. Max, no. And then Charles. Also.
So I win for, is this the 3rd or 4th week in a row? I've won 4 races, or is it 3 races?
I think you've just won all
3 races. So far, so 3. So we've had 3 races, I've won all 3.
Listen, I was expecting something good to happen, and then it didn't. The Alonso podium is essentially my science podium that I was trying to predict.
But you got it wrong.
I did get it completely wrong. And then driver of the day, you put Lewis, which is wrong.
Yeah,
I put science, but yeah, it was
You're wrong as well.
Ah, well done.
Thank you.
My streak is... Maybe I should just go boring, to be honest.
It's 3-0, bro. You should just copy my thing, so at least then you get half a point.
Nah. Something outrageous has got to happen eventually. There's no way Max and Lewis finish 1st and 2nd, whichever way around it is, for the next 2 races.
It's gonna happen.
Something stupid has got to happen eventually.
No, it's gonna happen. Unless someone has reliability, which I don't think so.
Perez will win the last 2 races.
No, he'll give it up for Max. If that actually happens, he'll give it to
That's very true, he would.
Same with Bottas, obviously.
Yeah. Same with Gasly and Tsonoda. Imagine Tsunoda's.
Did you see wait, did you see this where Gasly let Max through, but he didn't want to show it like it's obvious, so he went wide. No, he went wide.
He didn't.
But instead of just going back into the racetrack, he went wide and he stayed on the curb for a bit. Like he slowed down significantly, and Max just kind of breezed by. Bro, it was so obvious that he was just letting Max through. It was so obvious. You can bring it up and watch it. It's so obvious.
Yeah, I think he left his DRS closed until Max got past him on the straight as well. He had DRS, but
it was very obvious. It was very obvious. It's just letting Max through.
I mean, that's another conversation point people are talking. We've skipped it for now, but like a lot of conversation was made about how Red Bull essentially has 4 cars on the grid, which most of the time they're not useful. But yeah, we'll talk about.
But when you're fighting for a championship, is that fair? But then Mercedes could push Verstappen. But that's the thing.
They couldn't. Mercedes don't. No other team has an equivalent of that. Even their engine.
But like you can say like if it's an engine thing and like someone's in second, you'd be like, just give it to me. But realistically,
they can't. McLaren would never move out of the way.
Exactly.
They don't have that. Neither would Aston Martin.
That's why I'm saying, like, yeah.
We'll see. Obviously, this is how it's always.
Ferrari has that a bit more maybe with Haas and stuff, but. Williams could be that thing for Mercedes, but they're so far back that
that would never.
Yeah.
Well then, right. So, I guess that's it for this one. We'll just come up with a agenda. So hopefully it's less.
Hopefully Jeddah happens. Hopefully
it happens. Hopefully the track's finished, and hopefully we don't end up spending 14. Oh, bro, this was meant to like last an hour, and we've been all over the place. So, bro, it's been 4 hours since we like. Just get caught up in conversation. Obviously, we're big famous on campus now, so everyone stops us for chats. That's how this works.
Yeah, that never happens.
I mean, it's happened twice today. Nothing to do with this, but
yeah,
it's happened a couple times. So yeah, we'll try. You know what? We should just go back to filming on Fridays. Imagine that. The podcast comes out Sunday morning of the race.
Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for listening, and hopefully I'll see you next week with a review of Jeddah and kind of all the controversy that's happening.
And pre-chat into the championship, because there won't be a pre-Abu Dhabi because they're back-to-back.
Yeah, we'll be chatting about championship, what we think is going to happen, what can happen. And then we'll probably talk a bit about memes probably between here and then. If any
I'll be on Twitter for a very long time.
Yeah, if any controversy comes up, we'll talk about that. I'm trying to think, there was something, I remember I was going to say something else, but it just slipped my mind. I think that's everything.
Yeah, I'd say that's about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's the Qatar episode.
Yeah, see you guys
next week.
Yeah, bye-bye.